hey everybody, Patrick Henry here, and I'm so excited that we are back on the back porch. I hope you like what we've done with the place. This is not Jeannie's house. This is my house. And for those of you who know me, know this ain't a back porch. It's actually my office / music room / writing room / sometimes yoga studio. But we're going to have a lot of fun and keep Jeannie's memory alive. You may notice that I've got a picture of Jeannie right here, and I always like to feel like Jeannie is always with us right here. So we are going to have some fun today. First of all, let me just thank our good friend Linda Harris for sending us Paul's donuts. The donuts were delivered just a few minutes ago, and I got half of one in me before we had to start. But thank you, Linda. We love you, and we really appreciate you always taking care of us. So what else? So we're going to have Jane Tucker back on. Now, for those of you who saw our tribute show a few weeks ago, thank you for watching. Probably the most viewed show we had. We had more live viewers, Tony, than we've had in the past.
Right.
And so, but I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway. Jane Tucker. So Jane was on and she was talking about the auction that we're going to have. And all of a sudden her Wi-Fi went out. Was not her fault. She said she had been having problems in that area. And so we brought her back. So we're going to have her on today. But before we get started, I want to share a video. I think from now on, we're going to share a Jeannie video. One way to keep her memory alive is to not only continue the show, but also I want people to experience some of the fun that we had. During the pandemic, one thing that Jeannie and I did was we recorded a lot of videos. We just came up with ideas and made them happen. And this is one that I want to share with you that I think is funny, and I hope you will too. Let's see.
I lie in bed at night and I hear myself wrinkling. You can hear it big time near your ears. Something's got to be done. Takes years of your appearance, gives you a youthful glow. This'll be a miracle. Wait 45 minutes. Cucumbers. Let's see if I got it. Cucumbers. I don't have any. Wait, that'll do. Okay, let's see how many years this took off. It is a miracle.
Well, if y'all have seen that before, that was my daughter that participated in it, and we had a lot of fun doing that video. But anyhow, I tell you, I watch those all the time, and I just miss Jeannie, and I hope y'all can see that okay. But anyway, I want to go ahead and bring our good friend Jane Tucker back on. One thing that we decided to do, and I want Jane to tell the story about how this whole thing came to be, but we decided that that we wanted to have an auction and give away or auction off some of her jewelry and some of her clothes to benefit some of the charities that she really supported and thought a lot of. And so, Jane, are you ready? I'm going to bring Jane Tucker on, and she is in her her house, and it's kind of embarrassing. Her house is kind of small and shabby, but let's go ahead and bring her on. Hello, Jane.
Hi, Patrick. Hi, everybody.
So I see you're standing there with a picture of Jeannie. Do you walk around with it all the time, or you just?
I have a picture of Jeannie. She's right with me all the time.
Oh, that's good to
So
see.
we couldn't do this without her.
Not at all. I'm going to go ahead and take myself out of the shot, but so why don't you just quick pan the camera around? I want everybody to see your house.
Oh, okay.
Gorgeous.
I have my techno guru, Debbie, here. And so she'll just kind of pan around. We're in my dining room and living room area. And she'll take a walk over to the living room. So I moved to Savannah from New York City 6 years ago.
You couldn't afford a picture with a whole hand in it?
I know. How about that? We could only get by a quarter of it. We're missing a bit. So Debbie will walk over to the living room. And I walked in the house and realized that it was perfect and everything I needed.
Well, that's wonderful. Debbie, don't get too far away from her. We got to be able to hear her.
Okay.
I can see why Jeannie enjoyed spending so much time down there with you.
There's a quick picture of that chair right there, the green and white chair. Those were those chairs you and Jeannie loved that you had put in your house, remember?
Yes. The Harlequin chairs.
Yes, yes.
In the living room. Yep. Those were the first things that I bought when I moved to Savannah. And then I had a great upholstery.
I don't see how you could I know I couldn't sit in that chair for long. Looks like I'd fall right out of it.
They were originally in purple and gold, but that was not my color scheme.
Well, that must have been a Mardi Gras chair.
Absolutely. So you can see the dining room table has a lot of Jeannie's jewelry on it. And Debbie, come over this way. And so I've spread it out here so you all can see it. Now this is only part of it. I've used a lot to accessorize her clothes getting ready for the auction. So you can see, but you have to understand, when I first met Jeannie in 1997 and started working with her on her wardrobe, she had I said, can I see your jewelry? And she drags out a pair of pearls that she had in high school that she wore the whole time she was with North Carolina. So this is a collection that we've had a fun time with collecting over the years. So she even redid her closet to create a lot of drawers for all the jewelry, but it's been fun. So this will all be in the auction. All of her outfits will be accessorized because most of the jewelry we chose to go with each outfit. So it's going to be with the outfit. So I have more information about the auction. Patrick, did you want to ask me something?
Yeah, I did. So let me figure out how to get okay, there I am. So my understanding is, and I don't know much about jewelry. I buy what my wife tells me she wants me to buy, but that wasn't real expensive jewelry, right? I mean, nice jewelry doesn't always have to be the most expensive. I mean, isn't it called costume jewelry or something?
Yes, it's all costume, but costume can be expensive too, and there are some expensive costume pieces here. And then other pieces were things that we found in antique shops, thrift shops, consignment shops. It's just been a little combination of both, and we saw it, we loved it. So
Debbie, don't cover up the microphone.
Oh, got it. So anyway, it was fun collecting it over the years.
Well, and that's something that y'all really had in common, is y'all loved, y'all did that together, and that's something that you and she, that was kind of your thing.
Yes, it was our thing. There were some wonderful places in Burlington and some wonderful places here in Savannah, and we'd go over to Hilton Head and had a wonderful time. Norma Rose, the three of us would go in. So it was fun finding pieces, and the famous white chairs we found when we were all together, and which I bought. And Jeannie loved them so much, and I said, well, if I find another pair, I'll buy them. So the chairs will also be in the auction. So those will be the crown jewel of the auction.
Well, Jeannie's been talking to me. She's been visiting me in my dreams, and she kind of thinks I ought to keep them, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to go out and look for another pair of chairs.
So tell us tell us about the auction, Jane, and kind of you've worked so hard on this, and but let me back up. You know, when you and Jeannie and Norma Rose were all standing around one day, you know, the question was brought up: if one of us dies first, or whoever dies first, what's going to happen with our stuff? And that started a conversation.
It did. So unfortunately, we were not expecting Jeannie to go first. We didn't know who was going, but we weren't.
She wasn't either.
That. So Beaver was in somewhat of a shell shock at the thought of getting rid of her clothes and dealing with it all. So I said, don't worry, Norma and I will do it. So I had a lot of wonderful memories remembering when we ordered certain clothes and found certain pieces of jewelry and certain pairs of shoes. So if all your fans who wear an 11B will have a lot of fun, because there's a lot of shoes going to be on sale. So,
did you say 11B?
11B, right? 11B.
Somebody said I had big shoes to fill. I didn't realize they were going to be 11B high heels.
Yes, there are lots of heels. So I'm sure you have a lot of fans out there that do wear that size.
Jane,
Hold on for a second. Let me get us back in here.
people are asking about the auction particulars, if it's open to the public. So let Jane tell what she knows about that.
Okay. By the way, Tony's here, everybody. You can see her here.
Do they see me? Just hear me.
The auction is being handled by Everard Auction House here in Savannah. It's EVERARD, and you can find it at everard.com. Amanda and her husband worked for Sotheby's for many years in New York, and then Amanda was a consultant for the Antiques Roadshow. So they're very qualified to handle this auction. What they're going to do, it's going to be a timed auction, all online. So it'll be online for about 3 weeks before they close the auction, but all of that will be announced when the closing date is. It's roughly around January 25th through February 15th, give or take a day. But I'll have all the specifics in another couple weeks. The proceeds, Jeannie wanted to do a special show for the Cone Health Cancer Center there in Burlington of Alamance County. And so she wanted to do a special show. She told Norma Rose that, and unfortunately didn't have an opportunity. So Beaver wants all of the proceeds to go to the Cancer Center in honor of Jeannie. So the auction.
Let me interrupt you for a second, Jane. So just so people know, we're going to promote this as it comes up. It's going to be in what, March or January?
No, it's going to be for she's going to have the things on the line for 3 weeks. And there will be, I'm not sure how many lots. There'll be a lot, meaning one outfit and accessories, or just accessories, or just shoes. So,
but it's going to be next year, right?
It's going to be roughly from January 25th to February 15th. So you can go on and make your bids, and then watch it for 3 weeks before they have it timed out to, to take the final bid. But
okay, and we'll let everybody know when it's
I'll
happening.
have much more specific information in the week after Thanksgiving. So I'll give it to you so you can put it on and do it for another weekend. So there's going to be 3 auctions going on at the same time: a modern art auction, an estate sale, and Jeannie's estate. So that will cover a lot of different people over and above all of Jeannie's fans. So anyway, I think it'll be very exciting, and people will get Jeannie's clothes who love Jeannie and will be so excited to wear her things. I'd love to show you 2 outfits, and this is my friend Judy, who graciously came out to model.
Hey, Judy.
Hey. And this was one of a wonderful favorite of, there we go. Maybe you can walk over that way so we can see there you go. I think Jeannie wore this outfit on the cover of one of her DVDs. So she always looked beautiful in this bright purple. So this was a favorite. So
That looks terrific.
and then we have one more beautiful outfit. So thank you, Judy. I have my team here to run the equipment and to model.
I can tell. I can tell there are already people thinking I need that dress, and so I think it's. I don't know how I feel about it, but we having this auction Jeannie's clothes, but it's so appropriate. She would love it. The only thing she would love more if she was here to be the one auctioning it off.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I know we have her blessings, so there'll be a lot of happy people when they have something. So we'll have shawls and some shoes, and then a lot of the jewelry will be on its own.
Palominos.
I'm sorry?
Palominos.
Oh, yes. And so it'll be very exciting. So the auction house is coming out to take a complete inventory. So in a couple of weeks, we'll know exactly how many lots there'll be. And it'll be a very extensive sale. So. And
the only condition is if you purchase a piece of jewelry or a piece of clothing, you have to send us a picture of you wearing it so we can post it.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Yes, that'll be wonderful. So Patrick, do you have any other questions?
Well, Timothy Carter just said if Patrick was in that dress, it'd be a whole different show. Timothy, don't count on it, pal.
No, we don't let you do that anymore.
I don't do that anymore. No.
I don't think purple is your color, Patrick.
Yeah, that's a little short for me. Do you have something to say?
Yeah,
Tony?
just Jane, before you finish up, you have to tell people about your cats because they are seeing your cats somewhere.
Oh, well, there's a cat here in the chair. She's right.
Oh, is this going to be a cat show?
Can you see her, Deb?
Am I going the right way?
No, here, she's over here, behind me, right there. This is, I have 3 Maine Coon cats. You see her? No.
There.
Keep going.
Isn't
Oh,
that
you
the
got
chair?
her.
Yeah, that's the chair.
Yeah. I have 3 Maine Coon cats. They're all sisters from the same litter, and they're the Bond girls. I have Pussy Galore, and this is Octopussy here on the chair, and then I have Honey Rider in honor of Ursula Andress. She was the first Bond girl from Dr. No. So you always know what generation someone's from when you give them the names, and if they laugh, they're our generation, and if they have a straight face and have no idea what I'm talking about, they're a generation whatever. So
Okay.
they're very cute and wonderful. They were my salvation during lockdown last year.
So do we have one more article of clothing to show?
Yes, Judy's just putting it on right now.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not turn the camera towards her quite yet.
I'm not sure. I think I mentioned it, but people can pre-register for the auction, and I'll be more specific in a couple weeks. But I think it's liveauctioneers.com, and you can put in the name of the Everhard auction with the Jeannie Robertson sale, but I don't think the website's up yet. But it's liveauctioneers.com, and then you can pre-register when we know exactly all the specifics. So people can kind of go on that and, learn their way around the website.
I know that people have a little trouble understanding all this right now, but Jane will write all this out for us, and we will write it and put it out there on Facebook with instructions so you'll know what to do when the time is right. Right, Jane?
Yeah.
Exactly. When Amanda comes out to take an inventory and create the different lots, I'll have all of that down. Oh, here comes Judy in another outfit. Jeannie
Okay, here's
loves
Judy.
this color.
Oh yeah.
It's just this, she loved this color and it looks so great on her. The first outfit I did for her when we first started to work together was in this color. And when she was giving a keynote for national speakers in Washington in the year 2000. And she walked out in this color and the whole audience just took a deep breath. She was so magnificent. So this was one of the most beautiful outfits. Thank you, dear. So that's our little show. And any other questions, Tony?
Well, thank you so much, Jane. And for everybody who is out of their mind, confused right now, we're going to have an auction that auctions off some of Jeannie's favorite jewelry pieces and some of the outfits that she used to speak in, and that a lot of you may recognize. We're going to make sure everybody knows what to do when everything's happening. We're just kind of giving you a preview right now. But Jane, you are such a big part of her life, and you're a big part of our life, and we love you, and we thank you for doing this and staying on mission to keeping Jeannie's spirit alive.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Bye, Tony, and bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can I sit down
Yeah,
and
come
say
sit down,
one
Tony.
thing? Okay, I will get on and off quickly. Some have asked, are we still selling her products? Yes, we are. We ran out of a couple of titles and of the DVDs we've reordered. They're all in now. So if you want all 9, which a lot of people seem to, then you certainly can get everything now. As you all know, the post office is a little bit slower. And so as soon as you order, it'll be better for you. They'll get there way before Christmas and all that. One more time, our site is, Patrick will put it up, storejeannierobertson.com. You can also go to Jeannie's website, which is jeannierobertson.com. However, we are working to change that website, update it. It's always had some problems with the newer browsers. It's going to be all fine, and it's going to be ready soon. So, and that will get you also, you can get to the ordering site, but the easy way to do it right now is just go to storejeannierobertson.com. It is run by PayPal for us. You do not have to be on PayPal to use it. You can use any credit card, but when you're actually ordering, you'll think oh no, I don't have a PayPal account, I can't do this, because where you click to check out, it says PayPal. But once you do that, then you have the option of using any of your credit or debit cards. So you're good to go with that. Okay.
And you'll see on the screen it says to download the audiobook at storejeannierobertson.com. You can order all of her products. We like the audiobook because I get paid off that. But anything you want, that's where you go. And
everything's on there. And it's a great site because if you click on the title of the DVD that you're looking at, it'll pop up a list telling you which stories are on that title. So it helps, it gives you a better selection. I mean, it's a way to buy, but we definitely want you to order there. And if you order, we'll get it out.
Okay.
I'm leaving because
Right.
Tim's coming, and y'all are gonna love Tim.
Yeah. So I'm excited about our guest. So Tim Gard, I've been friends with Tim Gard longer than he's been friends with me. I've known Tim from afar for 20 years, but we've really gotten to be friends over the last few years. And we talk regularly and we share ideas with one another. We've shared the stage together, and Tim was going to be Jeannie's last guest. Of course, that's not how she was billing him. We didn't realize she was going to be her last guest, but he was supposed to come last summer. And then some things happened, and Tim will tell you about them. Please bark more, Daphne. I've got 2 dogs. Daphne, who if could talk would say, "Let me in, I have to pee." Daphne's a little dachshund, and so she kind of rules the roost. 14 and a half years old, will not cross the rainbow bridge. But anyway, back to Tim. So Tim, he's a funny man. He was going to be Jeannie's last guest. And so we thought it was appropriate and poetic even for him to be our first guest on the new version of the show. So without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Tim Gard. Hey, Tim.
Hello, everybody. Patrick, thanks for having me. Good to see everybody.
Well, it's about time you got here. You kept canceling on us.
Yeah, it just seems like one thing after another. I mean, I was supposed to be there with my wife, Sophia. Jeannie had been encouraged. My wife is also a part-time speaker. She owns a wellness company here in Portland, Oregon, and it does some speaking around it. And she's really good, but she just really needed some encouragement. And Jeannie said, I'll do it. So when we were coming out, when I was coming out, it was like, you need to bring your wife. And I really had looked forward to that, to be able to spend time with her. Patrick, you and I were going to work on stories with Jeannie, which I just think would have been the most fun ever, is punching up stories. And Sophia could have spent some time with her, but it was not to be. I'm very sad. In fact, I don't know if we told people that for the event itself, whenever Jeannie calls the guests in advance and talks and tries to, comes up with some ideas and flow for the show, she'd spoken to me a few times. And I mean, we talked for an hour and a half one time, just visited. I'll carry that in my heart for a long time. It was just so much fun. But while we were talking, she asked me about my family, and I said, we don't have children, but we do have 6 cats. And there was just like dead air. I mean, she didn't say anything. And she goes, and it was like on purpose, and I had to explain to her. I said that when my wife and I only married 4.5 years ago, we haven't been married that long, but I had 2 cats and Sophia had 1 cat. And then when her father passed away, we inherited his cat. And then when her mother passed away this last summer, we got their 2 cats. And so we had a blended household of 6 cats. And Jeannie kept saying, you're welcome here. You and Sophia are very welcome, but I'm allergic to cats. Don't bring the cats. And then she'd start saying, I still don't understand the 6 cats. And it went back and forth. And so we basically, Sophia and I decided to play a practical joke on her. I collected as we vacuumed. I know this is very gross for some of you. This is a lot of cat hair. If you have 6 cats, I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of cat hair. I collected the cat hair, and I found a place that you can actually send this into and have scarves and gloves and things like that made out of it. And so we were going to pay a joke on her that as a side business with all the cats, I thought they should work off their feed bill and their litter bill. And so I collect this, and we have it made into hats and gloves. And we were going to give her, this it's made out of cat hair. And, I've been planning this. I could not wait to be able to do this. And I think, Patrick, you should probably tell the rest of that story.
Well, I just think I'll leave it at that, Tim.
Tell them about Jeannie's.
Yeah. So you're telling me that hat is actually made out of cat hair?
Made out of cat hair. There's actually a website. You can have your cat or dog or llama or whatever it is, and they will make gloves, scarves, hats out of cat hair. And I did it. I made it up. It was a joke. And then when I started research, looking at it a little bit, I started finding, here's a couple places that actually do it. We were just really excited to be able to do that. So it's a practical joke that I'll never be able to play, but this will be in my little trophy wall behind me. And I'll smile and laugh every time I see it.
That's funny. Well, that brings something up, as a humorist. If you've ever seen me on stage, you've seen that I play the guitar, and that's kind of my thing. Mm-hmm. Jeannie was a Southern humorist. She talked a lot about beauty pageants at one point in her career, but that was what she was known for. Tim, you have an unusual thing that makes you unique as a humorist. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was a big believer when I was doing research and getting into this like 25 years ago. I was at the time working for the federal government. I was known as the funny Fed, in fact. And as I was looking at speaking business and researching about how people learn and adult learning styles, everybody has different strengths and weaknesses in their learning styles. And some people are actually cannot tell a joke. Some people should never tell a joke. I mean, if you have people telling you can't tell a joke, don't tell a joke anymore. Just stop right there. But you could do other things. And so I started developing, they're called Tim's toys, but they're stress reduction toys, and they're visuals. They're things that anybody can do. This is, in fact, this right behind me here. These are called Don't Bug Me glasses. During COVID, let me move back here a little bit more. I think I kind of went to sleep there, Patrick. Wake up! These are Don't Bug Me glasses. So everybody that was having to work from home had this problem that their family would come and bother them or interrupt them during work because they couldn't separate when they were working or they weren't working. And so I got these. These are called Don't Bug Me glasses. You can put these on. People will leave you alone, if only for a few minutes. And it's so much fun because anybody can use this. You don't have to practice. It's just a very fun thing. I call these humor connectors, and I have all kinds of them. And it doesn't matter what you do. At one point in my life, I was a fraud investigator for Montana Department of Human Services. And when I spoke for a law enforcement group, one of the groups there said, Tim, we arrest people, but not everybody goes to jail. And you, at one time, were a fraud investigator. How did you deal with that? And I said, well, I had these glasses made. I took 2 forks and I welded them together. And I said, if you put these on, turn your head sideways, you can see what somebody looks like behind bars just one time. And it worked. So the visuals like that. And then I started combining them. The stories then, I started working on my stories, but I found that you can actually include the props with the stories. So when I worked for USDA, my boss used to come around every day and he called it greeting the troops. And he'd come around and he'd go, morning, is your head screwed on tight today? Good to see you. Morning, head screwed on tight today? Good to see you. Well, the first time he asked me, Patrick, it's funny. Second time, mildly funny. A year later, OMG. And so he came out one day and he starts in, morning, Gard, and I did this. Close one, sir. Good thing you were here. And it diffused the situation. I think in the end, but when he retired, I think he actually thought he invented that. But yeah, so I tell stories. I can make almost any story funny. And I found that a story, and this is something Jeannie and I shared and talked about a lot, was that I think a lot of people, when something happens to you, Patrick, you tell that story like you're telling it, relating a documentary. And instead, we should be looking at it like a feature film. And so I take those sort of stories and kind of weave them into my programs, actual real life situations, and then weave how I use the humor in it. But, I think that's the main difference. I use a lot of props. I'm not Gallagher. I think that, I'm a speaker who uses visuals and storytelling to enhance my message of when you change your perception, you really create a different reality for yourself.
Yeah.
I'd say that's one of the big differences, but
well, and what I've discovered, and I think you have too, I used to speak to youth. That was my primary audience, was high school kids. And I've always said the best speakers tend to come from 2 places, comedy clubs and high schools, because those are the 2 audiences that want you to fail for entertainment value. But anyhow, when I started speaking to adult audiences, I realized the same corny stuff that used to work with the kids work more with the adults, because people just want to have fun. They want to laugh, and it doesn't take a lot to give people permission to laugh. Sam, I will tell the story. People have been asking for it, so I wasn't going to tell it, but Tim collected all this cat hair and made gloves and hats out of it. Well, Jeannie, I let it slip. Tim told me, don't tell Jeannie. I want it to be a surprise. And And I couldn't help it because Jeannie was not the kind of person who liked surprises. She liked to be able to counter. And so I told her what Tim was doing. So she immediately started collecting the hair out of her hairbrush. And she wanted to make Tim a pair of gloves out of her hair. But the problem is her hair was short and it would have taken a year to collect that much hair. Hey,
But,
Tim,
Patrick,
go ahead.
that was just, it was, I mean, it would have been so perfect because it would have been, this is very funny, but what she does, even funnier. That's her mastery.
Yeah, she really, I mentioned this during her funeral. Beaver and I gave eulogies, and one thing I said was she was willing to try anything as long as it was tasteful. I mean, she wasn't going to do anything that she wasn't proud of, but she'd do just about anything to get a laugh. And that's what I always admired about her. She just had that kind of confidence. So Tim, tell us a little bit about the, and I'm kind of throwing this at you, but one of my favorite stories that you tell is the Anytime Fitness story. So Tim, your wife works in health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously you do as well, right?
Well, it was really funny. In fact, Patrick, I just spoke for them again. I actually just emceed their big banquet, so they even had me back. But the very first time I went to go to Anytime Fitness, I get on the plane, and I've been hired to be a keynote speaker for them. And I get on the plane, and we're flying to Nashville. And we get up in the air, about an hour up in the air, and this young lady sitting in the window seat, out of the blue, just looks over and goes, "So where are you going?" And I'm like, Nashville. Pretty much everybody on the plane here, we're all going to Nashville. And so I go back to my book and I'm reading, and she looks over again. She goes, "What are you going to do in Nashville?" And I said, "I'm keynote speaker for Anytime Fitness, keynote speaker." I go back to my book, and she looks at me. I can feel her eyes on me, but I could tell it just didn't soak in. And so I look over and I said, "Question?" And she goes, "Yeah." She said, Are you a vendor? I mean, do you sell things to them?" And I said, "Oh, no, not a vendor." And then I go back to my book, and she goes, "Do you own a franchise? Are you one of the franchise owners?" I said, "No." I said, and I knew where she was going with this, my friend. And I said, "Have you ever been to Anytime Fitness?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "Well, when you go into the gym, it's weightlifting, big gym, they have before and after pictures, which are very motivating. And I'm a professional before model. I go into all the gyms, all the stores when they open them, and I take pictures and sign autographs, and I'm a professional before model." And she looks at me just stricken, and there's no kidding. She goes, "How did you get into that?" I said, "Well, it's a lifestyle choice. There's times when I'm not hungry, but I have to eat. And, there's other times I want to work out, but I can't. It's a commitment. You have to make the commitment to be a before model." And then she looks at me and she goes, "You're messing with me, aren't you?" And I am. I'm messing with you. The thing was, Patrick, C.W. Metcalf said we need to laugh at ourselves, and laugh not with ridicule, but with objectivity and acceptance of self. The ability to take this situation that I could either get into some sort of a discussion or anything other than this, or I could choose to use humor and diffuse it. And she and I actually laughed the rest of the way to Nashville. About every other thing I told her, she'd go, "Are you kidding?" Then I kind of destroyed my credibility. But I think we have to laugh at ourselves. And as such, I think I'll have a lot of material for the rest of my life.
That's great. I was the same way. I mean, as a kid, I was, I think a lot of people who find ourselves in the careers where we are were the ones getting in trouble in class for talking too much. I had teachers tell me, you talk way too much. You need to focus on getting a job. Well, my job is talking now.
That's
so,
right. That's right.
So one of your kind of famous, I don't want to diminish it by calling it a prop, but it's, the policy manual.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about the policy manual.
So the policy manual, when we go someplace and people will tell you, "I can't do something because it's our policy." They always say that. It's our policy. So I invented this. It's a policy manual. On the front, it says, "I grant you the power to serve me." And on the back of it, where my picture is, you can put your own picture over mine because it just says me right here. And so it's almost instant credibility. So if somebody asks you something about it, you know, you can show them your policy manual, and then you can show them your picture. And I mean, you, obviously, this is official document. If it's in writing, it has to be true. So one of the first times I used this, I was actually in Australia, and I go to check into a property, and young man behind the counter, you know, I'm going to check in, and he goes, "Sir, I'm sorry to tell you this, but all we have left are smoking rooms." And I said to him, "I don't have any cigarettes. You know, I'd like to help you, but I mean, I don't have any cigarettes." And he goes, "Well, you don't have to smoke." And I said, "No, RJ Reynolds 16.2.8 clearly states." And I thought, Patrick, I thought I could get him laughing, and I could not. And I said, "Do you have any non-smoking suites available?" And he goes, "Yes, sir, we do, but they're $150 more per night." Now, I know I can't pass this cost on to my customer. So I said, "Can you upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no additional cost?" And she gave away my non-smoking room. And he says, "No, our policy is we don't upgrade based on smoking preference." So I pulled up my policy manual and I read to them. This is on page 11. "If I request and reserve a non-smoking room in any hotel in that property, then gives my non-smoking room away to another guest prior to my arrival, said hotel is required by law to upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no additional cost to me, no exceptions." And I showed it to him, and he looked at it, and he tells the other clerk, "It's right there." You know, he's not kidding. He's not making this up. And they're looking at it, and then he goes, "You need to talk to the manager." And I said, "I got that right here." So I turned to page 33, talking with managers about my policy, and I read to them, "If I request or I read to them, once I've spoken my policy verbally in writing, I'm forbidden by policy to repeat said policy verbally in writing to anyone else, no exceptions." And she goes, "Well, I don't know what to do." And I'm like, my hands are tied. I mean, I would like to help you, but it's policy. And Patrick, I ended up, they photocopied it, I initialed it, and they put me in the presidential suite, the non-smoking presidential suite, the very last one there. All because of a policy manual. And there's places in here where you can write your own policies in. I had a waitress one time refuse to seat me until the entire dining party arrived. And I said, "Come on, I mean, it could be a while till everybody gets here. It's a surprise birthday party." And so I hand wrote this in. "If I'm the first of several friends to arrive at a restaurant and the greeter refuses to seat me until the entire dining party has arrived, I'll be provided free of charge any substance I eat or drink during the time the table is withheld, no exceptions." And she looks at it and she goes, "I just saw you write that in that book." So I turn to the section that authorizes me to write new and updated policies as needed. Said handwritten policy shall immediately become effective and remain in effect till a final policy can be formulated, finalized, and recorded in the appropriate category. And she looks at me and goes, "You win." And I said, "You know, I don't want to win. I just want to have fun." And here's one. There's a couple of them in here. If you have children, this page just says "because I say so" over and over and over. And if you want to win an argument today, this is all you need. These are charts and graphs. That's all you need are charts and graphs. And they can mean anything you want. So I'll tell people, if I don't get my way, I may be only 10% happy. If I get my way, I could be 100% happy, which in the quarterly chart over here shows is clearly best for me.
So
And I get them laughing.
So where, let me get back in here. Where I want one of those. Where do I buy one?
So you can get them on my website. You go to just timgard.com. There's you'll see shop or store. And if you go to timgard.com, you can order them on there. There's just a little form you fill out. You can order them through PayPal. I've already had several people that saw the promotional video you sent out ask for them. So yeah,
cool.
So we've got those in stock. A lot of the props, we used to sell a lot of the props that I'll show you here. Unfortunately, we've had some hard times with COVID-19. A lot of the suppliers are no longer able to supply us. So I'm just trying to build the store back up. But I have policy manuals back in stock, and happy to send them anywhere. If you're international, then you'll need to email me separately. I think it's $27 for an international flat rate, but I'm happy. I mail them all over the world.
No, that's neat. So you mentioned the pandemic. Obviously, we were in a similar circumstance. when I like to say when the pandemic hit, bartenders, rodeo clowns, and professional speakers all found ourselves on the same unemployment line. Tell me about how you managed the pandemic.
So, it's interesting. I was very busy in April and it went to nothing. And I'm used to traveling like you, usually twice a week, at least once a week. And so for me not to travel suddenly was very strange. And
Mhm.
then when you add that to the fact that it's just Sophia and I love Sophia. I mean, we're first 4, we're going on 5 years, but the first 4 years we're just getting to know each other still. But after about 6 months, I didn't realize how driven I am to being a performer, because I had to take one of the cats in to the vet. And while I was getting the cat ready, Sophia saw me putting props in my pocket to take with me to show to them. And she goes, you going to go perform for the vet? And I said, well, I did. We just laugh a little bit, And she was like, no, you're not. But I mean, I was just driven to perform. And then, when you do have somebody on the phone, it's like, I don't want to hang up. I mean, I think for a lot of speakers, it was so hard because we're so used to sharing and talking to groups. But the virtual environment is fine, but you have a hard time. You can't really judge your audience and how they're laughing. You have to trust the material works. But poor Sophia, after 6 months, Patrick, I went to her office is upstairs. I went upstairs and there's a big sign on the door that said, no boys, girls club only. And it was declared a non-male zone. And so, but she did it in a really funny way. And I started doing virtual videos and I started recording and I wrote some, but it was hard. It was a hard time. I mean, I'm back speaking now. I still do the virtual shows and things like that. But that pandemic, I think it taught everybody, first of all, a lesson in humility. And the second thing is that there's nothing that's totally guaranteed in life. I think that we just have to go with the premise that we don't give up and that we're going to continue to keep going. And humor helps us. We've laughed a lot. We cried. We did all these things. But the bottom line is, I think Sophia and I are closer because of it.
Oh, that's great. Now, your wife is married to a humorist. My wife is married to a humorist. My mother was married to a humorist. Yeah. When people ask the same question, what's it like being married to such a funny guy? What's her response?
She'll tell him, she said, no one was more surprised than her that I'm the same off stage that I am on stage. And she never understood, Patrick, how you and I have this same, I won't call it a curse, but wherever we go, people just walk up and start talking to us. I mean, they just walk up and start talking. Sophia had a little bit of a hard time dealing with that. And then there's people that have seen us on stage that will stop or my videos and talk to us. And, she's really good about it, but she'll say something like, she said something like the laughter never stops or something. It's kind of a catch line that I think has more meaning to it than just the casual words.
Yeah. My wife just goes, oh yeah, he's hilarious.
Well, Patrick, see, here's a hard thing. When I was single for almost 18 years and I would not date anybody that had been in one of my seminars because I have nowhere to go but downhill. I mean, it's like I'm in a very nice suit and I'm very funny and funny things. And then we go to dinner and I have gravy on my tie. I mean, and that's not every time, but a lot of the time it did happen. And so you have no place to go but downhill. And I met her, interestingly enough, Darren LaCroix's one of his boot camps. And
really?
Ever indebted. She attended there with Kathy, one of her best friends, and we hit it off. She had a fake engagement ring on to scare off men, and it worked really well. It scared me off. And then she told Darren she'd actually like to spend more time with me, and we were married a year and a half later.
No, that's great. That's kind of like my story, except for we were engaged, I think, a couple of months later.
Well, I mean, we really clicked. And so. Yeah.
Well, you and I both married up.
Definitely. Yeah.
My wife's 5 feet tall, so I had to look down to marry up. So I want you to come back here in a second and tell us a little bit about the Bluetooth man. But I want to play a song. I always played a song for Jeannie, and I want to play a song on this show. So hang on for a second. And Tony, do you have something you want to say?
I just wanted to, before we're through, which I know we're not through, but tell everyone that Norma Rose is out of town this
Oh, thank you,
weekend. That's
yes.
why she's not here. People are asking. And Beaver is in Georgia where he lives and doing fine. He and his family, the boys are doing fine. And Ryder is actually now engaged to Caroline, who Jeannie loved and would be very happy to know that. And Gray is a senior at Elon and doing well. And people, they're all doing great. And we'll get Beaver here sometime when he happens to be in town, but he does live in Georgia, so we aren't bothering him right now. But he knows the show's on. I don't know if he's able to watch today, but everybody, he appreciates all your concerns and your thoughts, and as does Norma, and she'll be back with us. They happen to be going somewhere this weekend. And now Patrick's go sing something. If he'd remember it.
If I can remember it. I called Norma and said, we want you to come be on the show. And she said, well, I would, but I'm going to be out of town. I'm traveling now. I said, okay, well, we're going to be here. So I was asking Leslie, I told Leslie, she asked me what song I'm going to do. I said, I think I'll give them a choice. I'll ask if people want to hear a football song, a breakup song, or a song about grandparents. And she said, no, do the breakup song. And so I'm going to do a song I've not played on this show before. And honestly, I hadn't played it a lot as evidence when I was practicing. I forgot the words, but it's got kind of a funny story to it because I had a roommate in Nashville and we were good buddies, and he ended up marrying his college sweetheart who lived there in Nashville too. We all waited tables together. And so he moved out, which was appropriate. And about a year later, he asked if he could move back in because it didn't work out. And so he was so upset about the split up and everything. And so I would do a lot of listening and I would console him as I could. And I did tell him one time, I said, I know you're upset right now. I know you're sad, but I want you to think of it this way. You just got a $30,000 a year raise. So the next day he went out and bought a bass boat. And so we had a lot of fun fishing for the next couple of years. But anyway, I wrote this song through his perspective. You were wrong to have left me that way. There were so many things I never had the chance to say. And I was wrong to let you leave the way you did, but my stubbornness instructed me to keep my feelings hid. And now I feel so alone since you're not coming home. Loving you didn't seem to be enough. Hating you don't make me feel much better. Looking back just stirs emotions up. I can't find the best way to remember you, so forgetting is the best that I can do. It ain't fair, that's the way the story goes, and missing you's what's left behind when that chapter's closed. And it ain't right, seems I never had my say, my opinion sealed behind closed lips so you could have your way. And now I get so darn mad thinking about what we had. Loving you didn't seem to be enough. Hating you don't make me feel much better. Looking back just stirs emotions up. I can't find the best way to remember you, so forgetting is the best that I can do. I can't find the best way to remember you, so forgetting is the best that I can do. Oh, thank you so much. All right. Before I bring Tim back on, I just want to try something, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to try it. So a lot of y'all remember when Jeannie Seeley was on. Now, Jeannie Seeley is a Grand Ole Opry legend, and she and Jeannie Robertson got to be friends on the Grand Ole Opry. Now, not a lot of people can say I met a good friend of mine while we were both performing on the Grand Ole Opry, but they saw each other periodically at the Opry. And so I said, Jeannie, why don't you invite her to be on the show? And so she did, and we thought we were going to Zoom her in, but she wanted to be there live. And so she and her husband, Gene, and her assistant flew to Raleigh, drove to Burlington, and was on the back porch with us. And we had a great time. I screwed up the sound on one of her songs. But anyway, Gene, her husband, and I hit it off. He was a high-powered Nashville attorney at one point, and I had played a song, and he asked me privately while the two genies were talking, do you know the wildwood flower? And I was sad that I didn't. A lot of people think country music is simple music, and it's really not. And so I just didn't know how to play it. But for the next year, I worked on learning how to play that song for Gene. And so I'm not sure I'm going to do it right because it's not easy, but I want to give it a shot. All right. I did it. That's for Gene, Jeannie Seeley's husband. Okay, let's bring Tim back on. Let's see. Let's do it like, there you are, Tim.
Yeah, Patrick, I don't play guitar. I do play nose flute. You play it by blowing through your nose.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, it doesn't want to work.
Did you tune your nose flute?
I got to tune it. You can play any song on him. You can almost see him running slow motion.
I'm trying to picture how the heck you made it through the pandemic in that house with Sophia and that nose flute.
That's the result of a pandemic, a nose flute, and a humorist locked into a room. There you go.
And a very patient wife.
With earplugs in.
Yeah. So we've just got a few more minutes left. Tell us about Bluetooth Man.
So I was at the airport, and I'll never forget DFW, and it was this guy's walking around with his Bluetooth on. I mean, these cell phones have just about destroyed our planet. This one's from 1995. I like to put it in my pocket and go to Best Buy, and I'll walk in there. Can I help you? Looking for a new iPhone. And I'll take this out. They'll say, what do you have? I take this out, and I tell them it's analog, and they about faint. But so I'm at the airport, and I'll never forget, this guy's walking around. He's going, he's talking on his Bluetooth device. He's going, yeah, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. No. Yeah, not by Tuesday. No. Yeah. No, not by Tuesday. No. And he's walking towards me, Patrick, getting Doppler radar incrementally louder as he approaches. And he's, yeah, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. No. No. And he comes over and he sits right next to me, not 2 seats down, literally right next to me. And I'm not angry. I'm stunned. He has no concept there's another human being in his proximity. There's like 10 rows all around me. And he's going, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. And I thought, say that one more time. Say it one more time. And he goes, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. And I said, I need that order by Tuesday. You told me you'd ship that order by Tuesday. You better ship that order by Tuesday. And it's if I appeared out of thin air. I mean, he kind of rears back like this and he goes, sir, I'm not talking to you. Well, the guy in the Bluetooth thinks he's still talking to him. And he goes, no, I'm talking to you. I said, I'm talking to you. You better ship that order by Tuesday. And he starts picking his stuff up. I'm going, don't you walk away from me. I will find you by Tuesday. Then I changed chairs before the police came. So, yeah,
That's funny.
I think sometimes, Patrick, this is a true story. I did this, but I think a lot of people, when you hear somebody being irritating like that, this is the picture you want in your brain. is something like this that makes you laugh instead of getting angry at them.
Well, you know, and I think that's such a gift that you have, is, you know, and humor allows us to not only manage bad situations, but also divert. And, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've stayed out of trouble because I had a witty comeback rather than another comeback. But Tim, I tell you, you're one of my favorite people in the whole world, and I appreciate you being with us today. If anybody wants to order his book or the policy manual rather, or subscribe to his YouTube channel, please do so, because he's going to start, as he told me, you're going to start adding a lot more content to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's the YouTube. It's just YouTube.com/Tim Gard and then timgard.com. And we're going to be adding new videos every week now to that. We just did an overhaul on both of them, but happy to share.
Well, thank you again. And hopefully I will be seeing you on the road, and everybody else. I just want to thank you for being a part of this. Hopefully it'll get bigger and better. And we'll always, like I said, honor Jeannie as we go forward. And so let me just tell you this, we're not going to do it every week, but we are going to have a show hopefully on December the 11th. And our guest is going to be LaDonna Gatlin.
Oh,
now,
I love LaDonna.
Some of you remember LaDonna from the last time she was on Jeannie's show. You may recognize the last name Gatlin. She is the sister of the Gatlin brothers, and she is probably, in my opinion, the most talented, because I mean, she's just fantastic. She's going to sing. We're going to do some Christmas songs, and I really wanted to get you to get to know her, because she is fantastic. That's going to be on December 11th. We're going to tell you more about that as it gets closer. And so if you have any guests that you want to see on the show, please let us know. And I saw somebody had mentioned they wanted to see the smiley face bucket, or they miss it. We got to find that smiley face bucket.
I know where it is.
I bet you do. So anyway, thank you so much. And as Jeannie would always say, keep laughing. And